What up, y'all? On today's video, I'm doing a review for Tory Lanez's new album, Memories Don't Die. Are y'all ready? It's lit.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can
Yeah. What up, everybody? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and you're tuned into another episode of On the Bright Side. If this is your first time on my channel, and if you enjoyed this whole video and you watched the whole thing, you might as well hit it with a like, share this video, and subscribe to my channel, okay? On this channel, I'll talk all things music and entertainment, while always keeping things positive and always finding the bright side of everything. Okay, what up, y'all? But like I said, this is gonna be a review for Tory Lanez's new album, Memories Don't Die. Disclaimer, guys, if I sound funny, I'm sorry. I just got all my wisdom tooth pulled last Thursday, so I've been in recovery mode like all weekend. I was on house arrest. I didn't go nowhere. I didn't do nothing. I was just recovering from all my wisdom tooth being taken out, so I'm still recovering from that. But if I sound funny, I'm sorry, but bear with me, okay? I still wanted to get out this video for you guys, okay? So Tory Lanez just put out his new album, Memories Don't Die, this past Friday, March 2nd, 2018. He released it on Interscope Records and on his imprint, Mad Love. So this is Tory Lanez's second album after his debut album, I Told You, which was released back in 2016. So, you know, all in all, guys, actually, before we do that, so this album had a lot of features on it and a lot of producers. It was about 18 tracks. On this album, we got Future, we got Mansa, Nav, 50 Cent, Fabulous, Davo, Paloma Ford, Wiz Khalifa, and we got a bunch of producers. We still have his main producer, Play Picasso, who pretty much produced, like, I want to say almost every track on this album. I want to say he produced at least 75% of this album. We got C Sick on some songs, Happy Perez, Dr. Zeus, OG Parker and Smash David produced one of my favorite tracks on the album, B.I.D. Yeah, Sergio R, A-Rap Music. We got a lot of people on this album, Benny Blanco and Cashmere Cat. So as usual, Tory Lanez has a bunch of people working on his album, a bunch of different sounds on his album, a bunch of different vibes, and I like, you know, kind of like with his first album, I think that has somewhat hurt him, but also I think elevated this album too, and I'll talk more about that later. But just kind of jumping into this album, guys, I really enjoyed it. Some of the things that I think I noticed off of this album, off of the first few listens, was not only the variety in sounds and the variety in vibes, and I think that comes from just the different producers he had and just because of how long the album was, but also just the variety in themes. This album was titled Memories Don't Die, and he really played with the idea of, I think, kind of resurrecting a lot of memories from his past life and at different points of his life. He has some very current party tracks woven throughout the album, but throughout the album he also has a lot of deep, introspective, classic hip-hop tracks that are kind of reflecting a lot of the most important times in his life. He touched on the death of his mother. He touched on some of the beefs he had with his people back in the hood, back in Brampton, Canada. There'll be some hood people in Canada, y'all. Don't sleep on Canada. Canada hood, they be getting it in. But yeah, he just touched on so many different, things that have happened in his past life. And it kind of reminded me of his first album, because his first album was, to me, it was somewhat of like it was a very like biographical album, not literally, but because he really used his first album to kind of touch on a lot of his life before. But this album kind of did it in a different way, where it didn't use a million skits like his first album did, which I loved. His first album had like a million skits, and it was nice to listen to them, to kind of understand more of his life and where he came from and what's happened to him in his life. But then again, it kind of brought the album down, because it felt like you were listening to 30 minutes worth of music and like 20-30 minutes worth of skits, which is not exactly what you want for an album. But what I appreciate on this album is that he kind of tightened it up more. There wasn't a million skits, and he really just got to the music. But I will say, I think this album was a little bit too long. I would have liked it to have had a few less tracks. It would have been nice for this album to have been under an hour. I think, I don't know, I feel like Tory Lanez is just someone who decides to have long ass projects, and I don't know why. But I really think this album was to me a step up from his debut album in terms of the content, but I still want Tory Lanez, if you're watching this, bro, I still want you to work on tightening up your albums and not feeling like you need to put 16, 18 tracks on your album when you know there's gonna be at least 2 or 3 that to me are throwaways. So I'll mention my throwaway tracks later, but I really think this could have it definitely could have been done without a few tracks, and it could have been tightened up more. But content wise and, you know, sonically, I think this is definitely a step up from his debut album. Alright, so kind of jumping into the sonics of this album, like I said before, I really enjoyed the variety of sounds that this album housed. It had, you know, classic current trap sounds, which Tory Lanez, like, that's his wheelhouse. And then it had like the, you know, the dancehall, reggae, tropical house vibe songs like Skrt and Hypnotized. The current trap songs, you have songs like Shooters, Real Thing, Old Friends, New Foes, you know, so you have those like current trap records in there as well. And they also have some like R&B records like B.I.D and Connection. So I really appreciate those more like vibey R&B records, more rhythmic records. And they also had like a pop track on there as well with Hypnotized. So there was a lot of different vibes on this album, a lot of different sounds. And the thing about that with this album, and the thing about that with Tory Lanez as an artist in general, is I think that is one of his biggest strengths, but I think it's also one of his biggest weaknesses as an artist, especially at this point in his career. And I say that because, you know, I feel like at least I tend to think of an artist being able, an artist who's able to do like everything. I feel like I only appreciate that from our legends. Like, I feel like the artists who are truly able to do everything and do it well are artists who are legendary. And Tory Lanez is kind of showing that he can successfully touch a lot of different sounds on his album. But the thing is, no shade, but I don't think he's necessarily going to be a legendary artist. He talks about it in his past music, and he talks about it all throughout this album. Tory Lanez kind of reminds me of Russ. They both are very new artists who they've proven that they can put out good content, but they keep going on and on and on about how legendary they are and how legendary they will be, which is fine. But it's also like, I want you to show and prove instead of talking about how legendary you will be. And in my honest opinion, as much as I love Tory Lanez, I don't think he's going to be a legendary artist for our generation. I don't think he's I don't think he's gonna be one of our greatest. And he's one of the artists that is like, I'm gonna be one of the greatest, and I don't think he will be. And so because he won't be one of the greatest, it makes me feel, I don't know how I exactly feel about the fact that he likes to like do everything. I feel like for someone like him who's still new and still building his brand and still building his catalog, I kind of want him to focus his sound more. And, you know, on one end, I'm like, I love that he can do everything. But on the other end, I'm like, I feel like that's kind of hurting you as an artist who's still building, who's still developing, because I feel like you're not allowing your fan base to kind of recognize you and recognize your sound and recognize your vibe instantly. You're pulling fans who are from R&B, you're pulling fans who are from pop, and like, you know, that's good in the moment, but I can't help but just be worried about the lack of focus that I think Tory Lanez's catalog is building right now, and how much that'll affect his future career as an artist. Like I said before, I think, you know, when you're a legendary artist and you have proven that you're legendary, you can go ahead and prove that you can do everything. But when you're a new artist that's still building, I feel like you need to especially work on focusing your sound so people can recognize you and so people can latch onto you. And I think a big part of why Tory Lanez has not found success with any of the singles off of this album so far is because he really has not honed in on the sound for this album and for this era. Tory Lanez is an artist who I think is so interested in proving that he can appease everybody, and as a person, I fuck with everybody. I love everybody, so I can relate to that. I'm a person like who I gravitate towards everybody. I don't like certain people. I like everybody. So I can connect with that. So I appreciate you, Tory Lanez. I can connect with that. He appeases my R&B side. He appeases my hip hop side. He appeases my pop side. But for his career and for his legacy, I feel like he needs to work on focusing that sound more. So that's all I want to say about that. But it's not a big deal, but that's something I really picked up on listening to this album. But moving on from that, I really did enjoy the balance of sounds on this album, and I think the flow for this album was much more enjoyable than his first album. Just, you know, and I just from the fact that I feel like he really made this album feel like more of a story than his first album did, which is funny enough in itself, because I feel like his first album was really focused on like being a real story, but I feel like this one kind of achieved that feat in a better way. And I think I can relegate that to the fact that he wasn't having so many skits, like I said before. So that's just, you know, that's what I noticed with this album. Okay, and one question I want to ask you guys is, do you guys consider Tory Lanez to be a singer or a rapper, or like both? Because I always question that myself. Like, I feel like he kind of would, you know, he would consider himself to be both. But do you guys consider Tory Lanez to be more of a like a singer and R&B star, or more of a rapper and a hip hop star? I want y'all to let me know like what y'all think down in the comment section, because I know what I feel like he's really split right down the middle. But I want to know what y'all think about him and where this album stands sonically, in terms of whether it's more R&B or more hip hop, or right down the middle like I think. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. But you know, just in terms of my opinion, I really did enjoy his mix of singing and rapping on this album, and I think he's one of the few artists I think can like easily slide between both and you won't even notice it, and it works very well. He's becoming like a junior Drake, whereas like I think people can love him as much for his singing as much as they love him for his rapping, and he makes both sound really good on his projects. So that's just me. All right, but kind of going into, I guess, the tracks themselves. Some of the tracks that really stood out to me were the tracks that I really loved. My favorite tracks off this album were Shooters. That song, I love that beat by C-Sick. You killed that beat, C-Sick. I would love to hear that track in the clubs, at parties like that. That track, I love it so much. That's a hype track right there. I also love the track Skrt. That's gonna be a nice summer track, you know, for the pool parties. That's gonna be a nice track for the summer. I also love the track Hate to Say. That's probably one of the best hip hop tracks on the album, and this is one of the most reflective tracks. I think that's been I don't think I've heard a track that dope from Tory Lanez ever. I mean, you know, in terms of a hip hop sensibility, that track was like really autobiographical. He's talking about just all the things he's like he talks about like the Charlemagne issue and him spending money at Gucci or wherever the fuck he was spending money at, and how Charlemagne conned him for it. He's talking about feeling bad for the beef he had with Travis Scott, and there's all types of stuff. And I was just like, wow, like I appreciate the fact that he was able to sit down and really like record this track, and he was kind of talking about his flaws as a man and talking about stuff that he didn't really want to say, but he just had to say it for his spirit and just to let his fans know what was going on with him. So that was a great track to kind of like let us into more of his life, into how he's really feeling. That was an amazing track. It really brought me back to like old school hip hop, where rappers would just laying their whole shit out on wax and really letting us in on their lives as fans. So that was a great track. Hate to Say, one of the best tracks on the album. I also love B.I.D. I highlighted that song in my Bright Side Mix Volume 4. Go check out that video. I just did that video and I love that song. I've been having that song on repeat ever since it came out. I love B.I.D. I hope it becomes an official single off the album, not just a promo single. I want it to become an official single because it's that good. That's one of my favorite beats on the album, and one of my favorite, just one of my favorite like arrangements and vibes on the album. I just want to take it to the back while you let a nigga buzz it down. Was it? I just love that song. It's such a vibe. I also love the track Pieces with 50 Cent. That is a highlight for me. Sorry, my light's fucking up, yo. Hold on. There we go. I love this song Pieces with 50 Cent. That is also one of the best like hip hop tracks, like the hardest hip hop tracks on the album. He was just talking about so much of his history in that song and really telling a story. I'm not gonna go into it, but he really told an amazing story on that album. One of the best stories on the album. Just an amazing set of bars. 50 did his thing on the track, so that's one of my favorite tracks on the album for sure as well. And it's not one of my favorite tracks, but I also love the track Connection too. That was just a nice like vibey song, and not one of my favorite tracks, but the song Happiness and Tell Me, that was also a song of note as well, because that was a song where he really touched on the death of his mother and him learning about it and how that's affected the rest of his life. And then at the second part of the track, he was talking about, you know, tell me all the things that you don't like about me, tell me all the things that are bothering you about me. So that's another thing I really like about this album. I really like that Tory Lanez was not afraid to kind of like show off and play with his insecurities as a man, and really touch on what's been bothering him and what people, you know, I like that he wasn't afraid to kind of talk about his shortcomings as a man and what people have identified as his shortcomings as an artist and as a man in his past life and in his current life. I love that as well. So it was really him getting to the nitty-gritty of how he's still growing as a man. So that was really dope to see. Okay guys, so the tracks I didn't like that much of this album. I did not like the tracks For Me. I just felt like that track, as you know, as someone who I believe in women empowering men as much as men should empower women, if that makes sense. I wanted to like this track For Me, but I just felt like the beat was great and vibey, but I just couldn't get into the lyrics, and it just felt weird to me. I couldn't really vibe to it like that. I also didn't like the tracks Dance For Me. I felt like that was a throwaway. It didn't need to be on the album. It didn't do anything for the album. It was a throwaway, and I don't think it's gonna become a hit at all. And I also don't like the track Hillside with Wiz Khalifa and Mansa. I just didn't like that track. I feel like that was another throwaway. It didn't do anything for the album. So I felt like those 3 tracks in particular could have been taken off the album, and that would have made the length of the album a lot better, and it probably would have made the album more tighter, and it would have had less bullshit tracks. But those 3 tracks are the only tracks I didn't like off the album. Everything else I really vibed with. Okay guys, so the last thing I want to talk about with this album is how much I need for Tory Lanez to get rid of that chip on his shoulder about sampling. This is what I want to say about Tory Lanez and sampling, right? Tory Lanez dropped so many lines throughout the album about how he's tired of people coming at him for sampling and how people need to get off his dick about it. But it's like, listen, he needs to get rid of this chip off of his shoulder about it, because people have every right to come at Tory Lanez about his sampling issues, and this is why. If you look at it, the only hits that Tory Lanez has had in recent years on the Hot 100 as a lead artist, the only hits he's had have been Say It and Love off his first album. He's not even had all the songs he's been releasing off of this new album, no song has hit the Hot 100 yet. Shooters, I Sip, even though it's on the album, Real Thing, Skrt, none of B.I.D, none of these tracks have hit the Hot 100 yet. I'm not saying they won't, but none of them have hit the Hot 100 yet. None of these songs have become like real big hits yet. And he's been promoting a lot of these songs since like the end of 2017. We're now in March, and none of these songs have hit yet. The only songs that Tory Lanez has had as a lead artist in the Hot 100, Say It and Love, were prominently sampled off of other songs from a previous generation. Say It was a prominent sample from the Brownstone song If You Love Me, one of my favorite 90s songs. So I'm not mad he sampled that song. It's one of my favorite 90s songs, an amazing record. So, but Say It was completely built off of Brownstone's If You Love Me, and it was just Tory Lanez using that song and him putting some bars over it and a new chorus over it, and not that much creativity. And then Love was sampled off of what was it, Tonto, Metro, and Devontae's Everyone Falls in Love, an amazing old school reggae song, dancehall record, one of a classic reggae dancehall record, like classic record. But bro, like everyone loved that song because it reminded them so much of the first song, which is Everyone Falls in Love Sometime. Like, that's why that song became a hit. Same thing with Say It. If Say It and Love did not use those prominent samples, I'm pretty sure that they would not have become hits, or if they did become hits, they wouldn't have become as big as they did. So it's like Tory Lanez, bro. And I think the proof is in the pudding that all his new songs, none of them have become big hits yet. I think Tory Lanez definitely has the potential to be an artist that's gonna have his own original hits in the future. He definitely can do it. But for right now, the name of the game is that he's used so many old classic songs to build new hits for himself. So at the end of the day, I have a beef with that, and I feel like he should have no problem with people having a beef with that, because it's like, bro, if you're not gonna build original songs for your catalog as hits, then why are you in this music game? Like, I mean, maybe that's going too far, because I know he's in it for the long haul, but it's like, Tory Lanez, you can't have a problem with people having issue with you always using samples for songs, because you do it a lot. And a lot of times he doesn't even do it to flatter his songs and to compliment his songs. A lot of times he's building entire songs like Say It and like Love off of prominent old samples. So it's like, why do you have a And I feel like he was trying to say, like, yeah, I'm gonna take your favorite song and make it my own, make a hit off of it. But it's like, why should people give you props for that? As an artist, you want to have your own identity and have your own content being out there in the world. You don't want to be building your own legacy off of the legacies of other artists who came before you. Not at least not completely, you know what I'm saying? Like somewhat, but not completely. So Tory Lanez, you need to get off of that, bro. You need to stop being mad about people being mad at you about samples and just start creating more original songs that are gonna become hits. That's all you need to do, bro. Stop being mad about it and just do the work. Just do the work, bro. But that's the only thing I wanted to say about that. But yeah, all in all, I did enjoy this album. I have been struggling with whether or not I want to give this album 3.5 or 4 out of 5. I honestly think for now, guys, I think I'm going to give this album a 3.5 out of 5. I wanted to give it a 4, but I think the track I didn't like, and just the fact that I felt like it could have been a little bit more focused, and the fact that I feel like he kept talking about stuff like you know, his sampling shit, like that kind of turned me off a little bit. So if with the next album Tory Lanez can stop talking about his beef with his fans and sampling, and if he can tighten up his album more, then he'll probably get a 4 or 4.5 out of me. But he's definitely going in the right direction, so shout out to Tory Lanez. But for now, I'm gonna give this album a 3.5 out of 5. Alrighty guys, that was my review for Tory Lanez's new album, Memories Don't Die. Let me know what you guys thought about the album down in the comment section. Did you like the album? Did you not like the album? Did you agree or disagree with my review of the album? Let me know what you thought about what I was saying about the album down in the comment section, okay? I want to hear all your thoughts. Let me know also what were your favorite tracks and what were your least favorite tracks, okay? But like I always say, guys, continue to live your best life. Live your best life in 2018, amen. Drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song and make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. But if you haven't already, guys, hit this video with a like, share it, and subscribe to my channel, okay? Appreciate you guys. But thank you for watching. This has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid, and for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just have fun.